Welcome to another Paranormal Highway. We got Dr. Wu in today, and we're talking about the science of the movie Moonfall. What is the science? What would happen if the moon is close, or if the moon wasn't there, or if the moon crashes into the earth? What truly will happen? So, what I'm asking you guys to do is relax. Let's have some fun today. Let's put on some awesome comments. So go use the bathroom, go say Bloody Mary 3 times and see what happens, and come back out, get your coffee, get whatever drinks you have, get it all ready, because we're about to discuss Moonfall. I'll see you guys back after the intro.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass. Did you see it?
All right, everybody. I'm glad it's a Friday. I'm glad everybody is here. Now, we're basically discussing. There's a movie called Moonfall. Movie. I'm trying to pull up images just in case most people, if they have not seen the movie. So I'm gonna share the screen and show some pictures of the movie. Unfortunately, every movie clip that I kind of wanted to use is copyrighted to a point where it's banned in a lot of countries. I don't know how the movie clips are banned in a lot of the countries, but
no.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do, right? So, of course, Moonfall. So, the basic movie. If you haven't seen it, now most critics hate the movie. Tell you that right now. Critics hate it. Most average person hate it. But I love it. I thought it was awesome. It was fun.
I like it.
They needed. They didn't have no more space shuttle, so they decided to let's get a space shuttle from a museum, and we're gonna get to that part too. Because guys, what the museum that Bob worked at had a
space shuttle,
a space shuttle across the street. So I want to know from Bob: is it even a possibility to grab a space shuttle? So you can rebuild anything, but in the time manner that they needed to get it rebuilt in space, is that any possible? So we're going to talk about it all. And I got a lot of videos, Bob. I got videos of like what if the moon is twice as close to the Earth? And then I have some videos if the moon hit the Earth. And then I got like a final video, Bob, of what if the moon is not what you think it is. It's a megastructure.
Oh.
So I got it all. And before I play all that, okay, so Patrick Wilson was in this movie. Halle Berry was in this movie. And again, this movie was not very popular with the people, but I don't care. I loved it.
I liked it. It was funny. It was just like, so I like cheese. I don't want, you know what sci-fi is? Not real. So why would you make it too real? I like it slapstick and goofy and thrown together.
It's like
and things
Howard
that are
the Duck in a way that
it's like
Howard the Duck. Why would that a duck to be here?
Why are they trying so hard to make things so believable when it's not fun? I like the old stuff. Like it when it's cheese. Leave it alone. Have fun with it. Why not?
Exactly. I mean, it's like it was like on Reddit, like the science doesn't work. Well, does the science work for the Avengers? Does science work for Fast and the Furious? Can these cars go to space? Does Fast and the Furious work for Mission Impossible? I mean,
well, you know, they all praise the movie The Martian, and I'm like, no, Now that is completely bullshit. You don't just dig up a nuclear fucking battery and sit next to it for warmth. Those things are going through you. It's nuclear. That means he's exposed to radiation the whole time. He's gonna have cancer. I'm like, I'm sorry, that's not real. No.
No, it's not.
No.
And Danny says he has not seen the movie. Danny, it's a good movie. So basically, the Earth is getting closer to the planet. And basically what they learn is there's something inside the planet, an AI technology that's the real reason why we went to the moon in the first place. Now, the main reason I thought it'd be a good idea to do a moon kind of show, because this week alone, we actually had a moon landing. So let me play this short little 2-minute thing of the moon landing we just had this week.
Oh boy.
So February 21st, if you saw that first part, the Intuitive Machines MI-1 mission, the first image of the moon acquired by the Lunar lander, 21st, 2024. So I had to change the music because the original music in this video was copyrighted.
I like it better.
So it's taking pictures of the moon. Again, this happened this week, which Ron from Cosmic Neighbors did some great shows on the lunar landing.
I like it.
Hey, so many things are all copyrighted nowadays. I mean, what do you got to
I like it better. I like it better.
Yeah, exactly. I got to do what it takes to make it work. Even though this is all for education use under Fair Act, if it's for education, which we are doing, we can. Let's get rid of that. So basically, Bob, the first video that I think I will do is, this is the first video I'm going to show. It's called What Would Happen? Oh, I need my glasses now. I'm old. What would happen if the moon was twice as close? So not if the moon hit the Earth yet. So this first video is what if the moon is halfway, and let's see, like, after we watch it, if you during your university watching, did they talk about how important the moon is? What would happen if the moon is that close?
I know all about it.
There we go.
I know all about it.
And then we'll do that. Then let's play the first one here. Let's get rid of that one. That was the one we just had. Here we go.
Now, pondered what would happen if the moon were twice as close to Earth as it is now? An intriguing query, isn't it? Our moon, this celestial body that has been our constant companion, silently orbiting us for billions of years. Imagine it moving closer, a mere hop, skip, and a jump away. It's a fascinating thought experiment, isn't it? One that could lead us to understand the profound influence of our lunar neighbor on our planet. Well, the effects would be enormous, and here's why. Firstly, let's talk about gravity. The moon's gravitational pull on Earth is a fascinating, delicate dance that shapes our planet in ways both subtle and profound. Now picture this, the moon being twice as close to Earth. That would result in a gravitational pull 4 times stronger than what we currently experience. This amplified gravitational pull wouldn't merely give us larger, more dramatic lunar vistas, it would have significant impacts on our planet. One of the most noticeable effects would be on our oceans. The gravitational pull from the moon is responsible for our tides, and these would skyrocket in size. Our coastlines would be reshaped as high tides surge further inland, potentially causing widespread flooding and dramatic shifts in marine life. But the changes wouldn't stop at the water's edge. The moon's gravity also affects the Earth's rotation on its axis. With the moon twice as close, the increased gravitational pull would cause Earth to rotate more slowly. This would effectively shorten our day, though not drastically. We're talking about shaving off a few minutes, not hours. So if the moon were twice as close to Earth, we'd be living in a world with higher tides, potential flooding, and slightly shorter days. That's a lot of change for our planet to absorb. But that's not all. There are other effects too. So, we've discussed that the moon being twice as close would lead to significant gravitational changes. The gravitational pull of the moon would increase, resulting in higher tides. This change would drastically alter our coastlines, submerging some areas and exposing others. Our familiar 24-hour day would also change, becoming shorter due to the increased gravitational pull speeding up Earth's rotation. The moon's proximity would not only affect our physical world, but also the life inhabiting it. With the change in tides, marine life would face significant challenges, possibly leading to the extinction of some species and the evolution of others. Even terrestrial life would be affected, with the altered day-night cycle affecting sleep patterns and behaviors of numerous species, including humans. In summary, while the idea of a closer moon might seem fascinating, the reality would be much more complex and potentially devastating. So next time you gaze up at the moon, remember the crucial role its distance plays in our lives. Imagine just for a moment a world where it looms twice as large in our skies.
My God.
All right.
My God.
Well, it's weird to think about, right? Because it's like the moon has that much power with the Earth. You know, it's like how lucky that the Earth is at a perfect distance from the sun, and we need the moon to have our life be perfect with the amount of hours, days, you know, the floods.
Yeah.
It's like the moon is so more powerful than we think. I mean, anything in that video. Now we're talking about just being halfway there, not hitting us yet. That's later video.
Yeah.
So, what do you know about the moon if it was halfway closer to us?
Well, I know all about the moon. I studied the whole thing. I used to talk about it at the museum, how it was created. The Earth was, it was formed. It was still, we call a planetesimal, which means it was a proto-Earth. It wasn't Earth yet. It was all molten lava. It was just raw and just hot and nasty and nothing really there. And then a Mars-sized planet has crashed into the moon and it's gooed into it and blew chunks off. And next thing you know, it's got freaking rings all over it and whatever is back to form. And then it stops at the perfect distance from the Earth, just enough to control the tides and maneuver this and that and do all those magical property things that they talk about mathematically, and it is sound. However, God damn it, this sounds so stupid. That's again, I'm a scientist. I know the whole thing, and the math is there, but it's also at the same time it sounds dumb. Like, okay, what about this? Now, as an example, what about this planet? Now, supposedly now Mars has 2 moons. I didn't remember ever no fucking moon on next to Mars, but Mars has 2 moons. Well, did a Earth-sized planet? Okay, so if a Mars-sized planet hit the Earth, so did an Earth-sized planet hit Mars and make 2 moons? And then what about all them other planets? What all there? Did they all have smashings to happen to make theirs? I guess that's what the math says. Okay, I guess. Yeah, it's its gravitational pull regulates whatever's, but they also got to think about a little bit more. If the science is correct, yes, it does. It's a pull on the tides in and out. It's what causes our tides to come and go according to the math. But also it affects what we have this thing called magma, liquid metal inside of the Earth. It is also subject to gravitational pull. So what's the difference between the tides will come up and flood? Well, also, what about the magma that comes up and reforms new land? So it'll compensate. It'll compensate. So if you have higher tides, you also have more magnetic pull or more gravitational pull on the magma and all the other things. So
what George is saying, he goes, Bob, should we worry that the moon is in the sky all day? I guess he's saying like,
oh yeah.
See it all day.
It's out now. It was never out all day ever. I know that. I used to set I could set my watch to the moon. I knew when I went to work, it was going down, and I knew when I was getting off work, it was it was coming up. And I actually knew where it was when I drove my vehicle. Eric, there's that road it goes down into Boeing, to the Boeing area. There's a kind of a hill right here is a auto parts store. But anyway, I used to
Oh, yeah, I know
know where the I used to know where the sun, because I'd put my visor down and then the sun was going down and the moon was. I knew everything was in my head mathematically what the time of day is based off the moon's rising and falling. But now the moon is out in the daytime, and I saw it one time. The sun was there and the moon was there, and I said, "What the hell is going on? This is not right." So anyway, that was another place. That was Sagittarius. But here it seems to be out doing its weird thing, and we seem to have a full moon every month, fucking every couple of months, maybe tops, But now it's every month. You've got the snow moon, to this moon, to that moon, moonies, every fucking name, every damn name in the book for a new full moon. That thing is not acting correct at all, but the science is still there, and they keep pitching it and teaching it. And I don't know what else to say about it other than, well, yeah, there's the math. Apparently, it's the normal cycle it does. So, I guess we're on a record player.
I got the next video. Now, this video is called "What Would Happen If the Moon Disappears?"
Oh shit!
Let's find out what happens if there is no moon. Oh, what is this? The moon is always up there. The Earth turns, not the moon.
Yes, Juan told me. Juan de la Montaña told me about the snow moon. I go, I've never heard of no snow moon. What the fuck?
Let's find out what happens if there is no moon.
You ever pondered what would happen if the moon were twice?
Oh, hold on. We already had that one. Is it this one? Hold on.
Our moon is on the move. Each year it drifts an estimated one.
Hold on. That's what?
Well, the moon. Okay, what it's going to say is that I remember that science too. That the moon was leaving the Earth. Every year it goes further and further away. It's going and there's going to be a day when it's gone. However, they reshuffled that math because it's way closer than they ever said on Sagittarius. Like, fucking thing's close now. It was always, in fact, they say the moon is within our atmosphere, within our upper spheres. I go, no, it wasn't. It's never within our fucking whatevers.
Our moon.
Okay. All right, I got the right one. Yeah. I actually had the other video about the moon colliding with the Earth. So I got that video for every part of the moon, and of course the final video is, what if it's not the kind of moon we think it is? It is a megastructure. So we got it all. So this is if the moon disappears.
Is on the move. Each year it drifts an estimated 1.5 inches further away from Earth. And in the process, Earth's rotation is actually slowing down. What if one night the moon simply disappeared? Would we miss it?
Stranger Things.
A full moon is on average 14,000 times brighter than the next brightest night sky object, Venus. So without it, every night would be as dark as a new moon, and stargazing would be spectacular. But by the next morning, you'd begin to realize just how important the moon is for life on Earth. To start, between the sun, Earth's rotation, and the moon has the largest influence on Earth's tides. Without it, high and low tides would shrink by an estimated 75%. This would jeopardize the lives of many types of crabs, mussels, and sea snails that live in tidal zones, and disrupt the diets of larger animals who rely on them for food, threatening entire coastal ecosystems in the process. Within a few decades, we would start to see mass population declines in the sea and on land. One of the largest spawning events in the world occurs in the Great Barrier Reef. Each November, in the days following the light of a full moon, coral colonies across the reef, spanning an area larger than the state of New Mexico, release millions of egg and sperm sacs within nearly minutes of one another. Scientists are certain that the full moon plays a role in the timing, but exactly how remains a mystery. On land, animals like these red crabs also use lunar cues to reproduce. After living most of their lives on the mountains, millions of adult crabs migrate down to shore. And then,
Wow,
only
that's a
during the
lot.
last quarter of the moon, females release their eggs into the sea. Now, the moon may not hold as much sway over human reproduction, but without it, something we care equally about would change. The weather.
Menstrual cycles.
Tides and tidal currents help mix cold Arctic waters with warmer waters in the tropics. This balances temperatures and stabilizes the climate worldwide. Without the moon, weather forecasts would be practically impossible. The average difference between the hottest and coldest places on Earth could grow to life-threatening extremes. But none of this compares to the biggest change that we would have coming over the next millennia.
Isn't
Right
it
now,
happening
Earth
now?
tilts on an axis at 23.5 degrees, mostly due to Moon's gravity. If the Moon disappeared, Earth's axis would wobble between anywhere from 10 to 45 degrees. Some experts estimate that Jupiter could help keep Earth's tilt from reeling completely out of control. But even just an extra 10-degree tilt could wreak havoc on the climate and seasons. In the past, Earth's tilt has changed by about 1 to 2 degrees, which scientists think could have caused ice ages in the past. It's hard to know what a 10-degree or 45-degree tilt would do, but probably nothing good for most life on Earth. The moon isn't just imperative for life on Earth today. Experts believe that it might have also played a key role in the formation of life more than 3.5 billion years ago. Turns out, the moon isn't just a beacon of light in the night sky. Its existence is crucial to the delicate balancing act that makes life here possible.
So basically, if the moon disappears, I guess we're done for. Sounds like.
I guess, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, that's it. We're done. We're might as well just end the show now. Fuck it. It's done, Eric.
well, I mean,
Moon is gone, man. There's no help. We will not make it. We will
well,
not
it's
make
just
it.
like it's like, but again, like, I mean, the moon is everything, right? But I mean, how did we just get
Yeah.
so lucky to have a moon in that perfect position where life can
Well,
happen?
yeah.
Because of it?
Well, that's a hypothetical worst case scenario, and according to their math and science, and it can't happen that way. This is a hypothetical. It's just like saying that. What if, Eric, there was a lizard that grew into the waters of Japan, and it'd become what we would call Godzilla? And what would we do if Godzilla walked around Tokyo? Number one, how would you have a large lizard? It's coming from the radiation, from the leak, whatever. You know. There's a hypothetical silly situation, and the moon does affect. Okay, so according to their science, the moon does affect all those things, but also the moon at the same time, if it is theoretically, it's supposed to be moving away from the Earth at such a slow pace that every animal would adapt and evolution would happen, and you would adjust, you would adapt to its leaving. You know what I'm saying? It
That's
takes
what Roger wrote.
billions
Either
of years.
we're done or we learn to adapt. So basically, if you never had the moon, then the Earth would have
It
adapted
evolved.
to what that would have been like without a moon.
Yeah, it would have. Life would have. It would take billions of years for it to leave, right? So I would imagine that all species would adapt and evolve with the leaving of the moon. So this is a hypothetical of it abruptly just left. Well, if anything abruptly just left, it's going to cause problems. If the moon or if the sun just shuts off, we're all dead.
Well,
If the moon just leaves, I'm like,
well,
okay, let's do another hypothetical.
well, we'll do another show on the sun later.
It's another what happens if a large lizard smashes through the towns of Tokyo? Well, imagine it'd be destructive.
And talking about Godzilla, by the way, Eric, Godzilla Minus is one of the best movies of 2023, in my opinion. I heard that a lot.
It is good,
people.
yeah.
I heard
Yeah.
that
The
the Japan version, China version is superior, which they've always made the best Godzilla movies. But
Well,
I'm
yeah,
telling
remember
you
they have
what,
the
that
copyright.
The Monarch show on Apple Plus about the Godzilla world is really good too.
yeah,
I'd like to
it's
see
the same.
Godzilla Minus.
So that video was no different than watching a Godzilla movie. It's like the worst case scenario. What if the moon is ripped away by a large giant, space giant. He pulls the moon and throws it over there. What would the evolution be like? Wait, so you're telling me there's a large space giant that just grabbed the moon and threw it to the side? Let's do a video on it. This large floating giant, it removes the moon. Let's go all
Ask
the way
him
in.
what beer he's on. I'm saying 5.
Oh, I'm actually on hooch coffee. It's coffee with Dugan's.
Ooh.
Coffee with Dugan's. It's a liquor.
Well, how about this next video? What if the Earth? So what if the moon fell to the Earth?
Oh fuck!
What would happen?
See, I can't imagine anything good.
Well, this is what we're here. We're here to learn. We're here to learn. So let's find out what would happen if the moon fell to the Earth.
What if the moon suddenly began getting closer to Earth, to the point where it was on a collision course with our planet? Would Earth survive the crash? Or would a crash even happen? Would the moon get torn up by Earth's gravity? What would this crumbled up moon look like from Earth? This is What If, and here's what would happen if the moon fell to Earth. The moon is Earth's only natural satellite, and the largest object to brighten our night sky. It's the first and only place beyond Earth where humans have set foot. The moon's gravitational pull causes tides on Earth, tides that might have been the encouragement for life in our oceans to move on land. This pull also keeps Earth from wobbling on its axis, making our climate relatively stable. In short, the moon makes Earth a more livable place. So, what if it suddenly sped up and started driving in Earth's direction? The moon's plan to destroy Earth by bumping into it would break into pieces the moment it reaches the Roche limit. The moon itself would shatter, never making it to Earth's surface. And that's going to look very impressive. But wait, what is this Roche limit? In celestial mechanics, it's the point at which the gravity holding a satellite together is weaker than the tidal forces trying to pull it apart. In other words, the moon can only get as close as 18,470 kilometers away from our planet before boom, the tidal forces would tear it apart. All of the footprints and flags we've left on the moon, all of its craters and valleys would scatter to form a breathtaking ring of debris above Earth's equator, 37,000 kilometers in diameter, making Earth the second planet in the solar system, after Saturn, to have this striking ring of beauty. The difference being that our rings wouldn't last long. The chunks of our former satellite, the moon, would rain down on Earth. It would be as if hundreds of thousands of asteroids were falling down on us and wiping out entire cities in the process.
But hold on. Ron said, our atmosphere is crowded with satellites and stuff. So wouldn't all the rocks just crash into all the satellites?
Yeah, that's where all our gold is.
The moon began its trajectory.
Where's Fort Knox at? Up there. Fort Knox is up there. Ron told me that. I was like, oh, there's all the gold. Shit.
Hold on.
You can push play, sorry.
No. He's saying on theory, is that a giant lizard is possible if oxygen is higher? Oh, you must be talking because people were talking about Godzilla.
Yeah, actually correct. Yeah, would be correct. You are correct, dude. Yeah. Actually higher
towards the
makes a higher, bigger lizard.
Yep.
Yep.
Planet, it would increase the tidal impact it has on us. By the time it hit the Roche limit, it would be causing tides as high as 7,600 meters. Our world would be devastated by an army of tsunamis, 10 times a day. But for a short time, hardcore surfers would enjoy riding some tasty waves.
Hell yeah.
On the other hand, this might be a solution to global warming. With the moon coming closer and closer, Earth's rotation would speed up. Our days would become shorter and shorter. Global temperatures would go down, and no one would worry about climate change anymore.
I love that. But climate change, the moon is coming to the Earth. Screw the climate change.
You'd be dead.
Well, yeah.
Be dead. Be dead.
Well, it looks like we only got like 30 seconds left.
Unless asteroids burned the Earth to a crisp, then there would be no one to worry about anything. I really wouldn't worry about it anyway. In fact, the moon is drifting away from us at a rate of 4 centimeters per year. So it's unlikely we'll get to see those pretty Saturn-like rings here on Earth.
So I guess listening to that, like you're
Yeah.
saying earlier, the moon is actually drifting away.
Leaving.
Even if it was coming our way, it can't hit the Earth. It would explode and make a ring, but the ring would die out soon because it would cause the meteorites to hit the Earth,
Well,
tidal waves. We're dead.
Well, that's okay. So this is why I always laugh at Elon Musk, because he wants to colonize Mars. And I go, okay, wait a minute. Now, I'm going to play your game. I'm going to play your game. Now, this is on the same subject. I'm going to play your game there, dude. So you have Mars. You have a colony. You've got a future. Everything's going good. But isn't Phobos follows the same pattern as we discussed here? According to science here, Phobos, which is the moon for Mars, one of the moons for Mars, it goes into a weird rotation where it becomes, it hits, I call it the Roach. It hits the Roach Motel area where it falls apart and forms a ring around Mars. And then it tears away Mars's atmosphere. So all the hard work that Elon has put into building up Mars to be totally cool, well, Phobos is going to fucking have a roach. It's going to hit the roach and it's going to have rings. So according to the history here, I'm like, I've never heard of this before. But according to the history here, if you guys want to hear that scenario play out one more time, look at the history of Mars and why it has no atmosphere. It's because Phobos comes in there and goes and hits the Roach Motel, forms a ring around fucking Mars and destroys it every fucking time. So it has a timer. Mars is due to die by Phobos any day now. It's going to hit the Roches and form a ring and kill the Mars. So if that is true, then why the hell are you sending anybody to Mars when it has an expiration date? Because Phobos falls into the Roach Motel of Mars. Every so often it goes into it, it turns into rings, and then it reforms itself back into Phobos. And I go, okay, I'm a little bit thrown off by this.
Well, but think about it. If Elon Musk says all this, what he's really meaning is he's trying to get people excited so the governments give his company more money.
Yeah, I was like, because he was a big deal at the Museum of Flight Aerospace Museum. Nobody wants me in there asking, excuse me, Elon? He's dumb. He don't have any. He's a fake. He's a fraud. He's just somebody who lives off other people's ideas. Hey, Elon, I have a question. Isn't Phobos supposed to hit the Roach Motel and smash it or like form rings around Mars? So isn't it kind of redundant to fucking have a civilization there if it's got a death sentence? The Roche area. Well, that won't happen for billions of years. And well, isn't that still an expiration date? As in, Earth has a moon that's leaving. And Phobos seems to going into Mars. That's how historically it gets destroyed every time. So why would you go to a planet that's going to have a moon leave and then you go to another place where the moon enters? It makes no sense. It makes no sense. So, yeah, I've heard that too about, it would hit this and it would tear apart and have it and we'd have rings around and all that fun stuff. And they would kill the planet. I'm like, wow, another death day. However, ours is leaving according to science. So we don't have that threat.
Okay, but
that's even another hypothetical.
Say everything
Yeah.
possible. We can send people to Mars anyway. So say they're going to send people to Mars starting tomorrow. They're going to fly people out. And then how long it gets it to get there? Do you even think if they say they find something, do you even think they would even report that back to us? Everything will be top secret. They will never tell us exactly what they find in the first place. So it's like our taxpayers' money goes to them keeping secrets from us.
No, it can't happen. You can't have a bunch of people sleeping in a tent together because it's still different than being in Antarctica. It's dry, dead cold. It's dry air, dry cold, like the worst kind of dry cold. And you'd have to be inside of a suit 24/7, not to mention the volume of bacteria that would build up inside them tents. You would have a superbug in about 3-4 months. In fact, you would have a superbug on the ship that got there to Mars. So whoever survives the superbug from all the bacteria built up inside that sweat and all your skin, you sweat and you got skin particles up and everywhere that and the bacteria from your own body, our bodies were infested with all kinds of parasites and bacteria. It would feed all that humidity and sweat and all that nasty. It'd be a contaminated, nasty ass thing. People talk about the myth, like it's not a myth. Like, why do the Vikings always drink out of a dirty bowl together? They have a bowl. They're going to go on a trip, and it's going to be about a couple of weeks out. So all the Vikings get together, and they do that thing where they snot in the bowl and they spit in the bowl. Now, I don't know if they go to that extreme, but everybody spits in the bowl because you're passing along that bacteria to the other sailors on the same ship so they can get that same bug that you have. So everybody's synchronizing their bugs. So everybody's sick for the next 2 or 3 weeks after drinking the dirty bowl. But at least you have everybody's bug in you. So everyone's neutralized when it comes down to the bug. So you would have a creation of a super bug before you'd even get there. And then when you get there, even if you made it that far and everyone drank the dirty bowl, everybody would get sick inside the tents on a dry, desolate, no living. And Mars has no geological or no geoactivity. It's dead. There's no plate tectonic processes. It's dead. It's a dead planet. I mean, there's no tectonic processes. There's no moving of making of mountains. There's no nothing. It's dead. So again, a lot of these people don't understand. I worked with these people, Eric, for years, and we have got cousins that work at NASA. We government. We all know it's all theories. It's guesstimations and wantimations and the hopitations and fucking whatever Asian. So everything I hear them talk about in science, I'm like, yeah, I hear that. I checked your logic. I see it. It's a good guess. It's just a guess what you're saying. Like, they don't know how the moon got there. They don't know. It was a play. We were just and then another one, like a billiard ball, hit it and informed. Like, that's a guess. That ain't real. It could be real. It might not be real. I don't know. My theory of a giant that shows up and just flies down, he's all magical, and I'm just going to put the ball right here. What's the difference between theirs and my story? We don't know. It's a guess. So again, based off the information that he provide, I looked at it. I'm going to say, well, I see a lot of holes in this. Because I can add anything I want to it too, including the story of Phobos smashing into fucking Mars. But, Elon's got $4.9 billion from Donald Trump. So he makes 1950 rockets to go to fucking a dead, dying planet that's already dead and is going to die again with the crashing of the Roach Motel fucking Phobos. So, and I hear all these stories. I'm like, I don't know what to say.
But what if the moon is not what we think it is? It's a megastructure. I got one more video because maybe the moon was put there.
Why not? It's possible.
Let's check this out. This is the last video of the day.
It's up right now.
What the hell?
Uh-oh.
Oh, that was the end. Oh.
What if the moon suddenly began getting closer to...
Hold on, that's the wrong video. Ooh. Hold on. My fault. Give me a second. Let me get the science one. I don't know how that happened. But where's my science one? Where is it? Give me a second. I got it here.
Yeah.
Science. Oh, there we are. Here we go.
Hello. I'll be taking a piss while you're doing that right here.
Hello, and welcome back to Nerd Doc. In this video, we're going to cover the science of Moonfall. There will be Moonfall spoilers, but if you do not wish to be spoiled, you can check out our spoiler-free review linked below.
So if any of you people in the chat have never seen Moonfall and you don't want to be spoiled, please leave now, which we only got 13 people watching for some reason today.
Yeah.
I guess nobody likes this show today. I guess nobody cares to listen about the moon, which, hey, people, if you want to learn that the moon might be a megastructure, you might want to listen to this, people. Here we go.
We're going to talk about the end of the film and some of the big reveals. You can find details on all of that in our Moonfall plot and ending video, also linked below.
If you guys didn't know, that's probably Danny on one of those space cars on the moon.
Oh, it's definitely Danny sitting on there.
Yeah, that might explain everything. I think that might be Danny there driving the car on the moon.
I think he's got an automatic
Moonfall
razor
is still
in his
only
helmet that
theaters,
shaves
so
his
we
face.
can't show you direct footage, but we'll do our best, so bear with us. There's a lot of bad science in Moonfall, so much that we can't cover it all here. This video will mainly focus on the Dyson Sphere, alien megastructures, the hollow moon theory, and related topics. We'll make brief mentions of some other science issues in the film, but those topics will be the main focus of this video. If you'd like to see us break down every science issue in Moonfall, leave a like and a comment and we'll look into it once the movie is out on digital and Blu-ray. In Moonfall, Casey Houseman is a self-proclaimed megastructurist and believes that not only is the moon an alien-made hollow object, but that it houses a Dyson sphere. Alien megastructures and Dyson spheres are basically one and the same. As a civilization grows, so do their power needs. Once a planet's resources have reached its limit, an alien civilization could harness the power of a star by surrounding it with what is essentially a massive solar panel array. Theoretically, an entire city could be built around a star, which is what the moon is in Moonfall. At the center of the moon in Moonfall, a Dyson sphere surrounds a white dwarf star. It makes sense that a white dwarf is used because it's estimated that over 97% of the stars in our galaxy will eventually become white dwarfs. This is the final evolutionary state of most stars. For instance, our own sun will eventually expand as it turns into a red giant, then after about 1 billion years, it will collapse into a white dwarf. Where Moonfall gets it wrong is that while a white dwarf is small, the smallest known white dwarf being slightly larger than our own moon, it would still have a mass of nearly equal to our own sun. Imagine if the sun were sitting in the same position as our moon. Just its gravity alone would have a very negative impact on Earth, assuming it could even survive a situation like that. Spoilers, it wouldn't. Even though the white dwarf in Moonfall is much smaller than any white dwarf we've actually found, the mass would still have much more impact on the Earth than what we experience now. And as the moon got closer, the Earth would be torn apart long before it ever reached our atmosphere. Also, most of the falling moon rocks that hit the Earth in Moonfall would be the equivalent of nuclear bombs instead of the small explosions we see in the film. In reality, most of those rocks would level a small city with ease. The hollow moon theory is a moderately popular conspiracy theory that has been around for a while. The H.G. Wells book, The First Men in the Moon, highlighted this theory in 1901. It's similar in nature to the hollow earth theory seen in science fiction as recently as Godzilla vs. King Kong. In Moonfall, Casey mentions that the moon rang like a bell for an hour when the Apollo 12 mission deliberately crashed one stage of the lunar module into the surface. This is true, and NASA did describe it in that exact way. However, there are moonquakes just like there are earthquakes, and the differences in texture and density of the moon cause the quote-unquote ringing. The moon is less dense than the Earth, which is another reason for the hollow moon theory, but some scientists believe this is because the moon was formed from the Earth's upper crust after a massive collision happened during the formation of the solar system. The upper crust is less dense than the rest of the planet, meaning the moon would also have less density. Finally, we come to the Fermi paradox and what happened to the alien civilization in Moonfall. The Fermi paradox basically says that if there are so many stars and planets out there, why haven't we come in contact or detected any kind of confirmed alien life in the universe? One theory as to why this is has to do with advanced technologies. The advanced tech required for interplanetary space travel is far beyond our current capabilities. We'll be lucky to have a small colony on Mars within the next few decades. We can't even begin to fathom sending humans to the far reaches of the solar system, let alone to the next closest star. By the time an alien race would have the technology to travel between stars, that same technology would have destroyed them. On Earth, some say that once we had the technology to create nuclear weapons, our days were already numbered. While that may or may not be true, AI is another concern, and that was the reason the alien civilization in Moonfall died off. The AI became so advanced it turned self-aware and determined that the alien race was a threat to its existence, so it destroyed them. All in all, the bigger scientific ideas in Moonfall were about half right and half wrong. Once again, if you'd like us to make a more detailed video on everything...
All right, so let's break this down for a second.
Says who?
So let's just say the moon is technically no rock planet, whatever you want to call it. It's actually a megastructure that's, I don't know, because like you said, you don't know, why was the moon there in the first place. So what if it is a megastructure and put there by an alien race or an AI computer system, or
Well, I based all my decisions off Hans evidence. Like when I talk about Hans evidence, I'm talking about outside of the book. Now, I worked in museums. I've been to the, I know all the stuff. I've seen the artifacts. I have authorization to handle the artifacts. For example, now I've noticed that Juan said something in there. Put Juan's up there. This is important. Put the one, I'm here, Eric, even though I can't believe we went to the moon. Now, I handled moon rocks Swear to
Bob,
God, on my life.
no,
Yeah.
real quick, Bob. Now, earlier I was on another show. I jumped on Pine Island Research, and I remember Danny wrote something in the chat on another show. What if there was another reason why we went to the moon in the first place? It wasn't really to be, the first steps, but what if there was another
here's the
reason?
thing, though. Here's the problem. I don't see no evidence for it. Now, I handled all I handled all the NASA equipment. Now, number one, when someone shows up, okay, I'm gonna go back to the moon rocks. So we had moon rocks on display. I can't wait to handle these fuckers. I've handled the ones in DC. So let's take a look at these guys. Now, I go fishing, I go hunting. I know rock stream fishing. I love fishing for trout. We live down here by the Puget Sound where you have glacial till, all these beautiful rocks. I know my rocks, man. And I'm like, what is this? This isn't plausible. These are fucking these are pebbles you got from the water that you glued shit onto it. Now, I'm not seeing no evidence. And number one, when anything comes in the museum, especially an aviation museum, a lot of people like to bring in World War II and World War I gauges on their airplanes. They're radioactive. So number one, you're bringing a radioactive product to the museum, which is dangerous. We had a rad meter. Rad meters detect volumes of radiation. So with the same rad meter, if I walked up to anything that was on the moon, I hit it. There's no signal. There's no radiation. The suits, no radiation. All the equipment that NASA had for the moon landing out for the public to stand next to would be radioactive. It's not radioactive. That's a fucking bunch of props. So I have seen no evidence of it. And when I say no evidence, I'm a skeptic. And I want it to be real. I want it to be real. So to support what Juan is saying, I hear you, dude. I haven't seen the evidence based off actual hands-on analysis. There's no radiation. It's not that hard. Let's grab the rad meter. Let's hold it over to the boots that were on the moon. Let's hold it to the moon. Let me see the moon rocks. Not a fucking, it's just Earth. These are Earth rocks. Well, how did you know? Because there's no radiation. There's no atmosphere. They've been pounded by radiation. Now, one of the conspiracies was that they're going to the moon to get the moon rocks to power shit because it's got all kinds of radioactivity. It could run everything because it's radioactive. But I've seen no evidence for no radioactive rocks. I've had the rocks. I've looked at the rocks. I'm working with people with white, soft cotton gloves. How are you holding radioactive material in your hand? It's not plausible. There's no anyway. So back to what we were talking about, the moon landings and all the other stuff, and even the gaskets wouldn't make it up there. There was nothing. It would be a smelter fest. Things would just melt. And a lot of things are questionable to me. Now they are. After being physically in there, handling all the artifacts, looking at things and using tools, using things like a rad meter, radiation meter, for those of you guys know what that is, and getting no detection. I don't know what the hell to say anymore. So when it comes to the moon being some sort of, I don't know. There is nothing that is panning out. Everything is I don't know. I don't know anymore.
I'm not a scientist. I'm no expert, but does it have to have radiation in the first place if it's up there? I mean, does it have to be?
Absolutely, it would be radioactive. Okay. Radioactive like a motherfucker. Super radioactive. Because you have all these photons, everything's come. The only reason why we're not radiated is because we have an upper sphere that protects us from the excess radiation. It goes around the magnetosphere, right? So they talk about that. So, okay, so for an example, it's a good question, Eric. You talk about that ozone layer hole, and people are getting cancer because if you're in that ozone layer, because all the radiation, well, why would they fear an ozone layer hole? Because it's going to bring in radioactive, it'll get people sick. Yeah, well, what's the difference? Because if you're on the moon, there is no atmosphere. So it's 100% a goddamn coronal hole or whatever you want to say, or another blast hole or whatever. It's 100% radioactive. 100%. And I've seen no evidence of anything with the Geiger counter and the fucking all this. There's no radiation on any of the stuff that's been there. None.
So
I've handled the rocks.
So for you, in your opinion, there's no way you think that the moon is a Megastructure.
It can be. It's plausible now. Because there's nobody who's actually done anything with it. I've seen all the evidence for all this. You don't understand? So I'm sitting here hearing the stories. I'm like, what's your evidence? Well, we were there. How do you know that? Here's all the stuff. Okay, let me look at your stuff. If there's no radioactive feedback on all these things. Oh, shit. I guess you guys should have rethought that one. Because if you brought out an artifact that was on the moon, then pretty much we're all radiated.
Well,
because there's anyway, it's within the year.
I'm just asking, is it possible that something that was radioactive, it actually dies out and goes away, the radioactive part?
Oh God, you know what? I didn't hear a word you said because you're fading out. Either I'm fading out or you're fading out.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
You're frozen. Yo, you're frozen.
Am I frozen?
You're frozen. Yeah, I don't know if I'm frozen. I gotta ask you guys if I'm frozen. Are you frozen or am I frozen?
Here could be. I don't see myself being frozen.
Okay, well, you were frozen on my end.
It's all good here, but I mean, can you hear me right now?
Okay, now I got you right now. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I got you here. It might be mine.
So, say you got a moon rock that was radioactive, but does eventually the radioactive part can that just die out, like go away?
No,
it gets,
no.
Just asking.
Because no, good question. A lot of people ask that question. Think about, okay, here we go. I'm going to give you guys the layman's version of radiation, an object. So everything dies. Everything dies. Everything dies. Everything has a half-life. Everything dies. So when you're in a video game and you go to the end, like you remember the movie he's in blue.
Tron.
They call him the Blue Man. What?
Tron.
What's it called? No, not Tron.
Tron.
He
Children of the Corn.
Got the guy in blue. You know, he plays Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds.
Free Jack.
Yeah, Free Jack. So you're a human in a video game. The furthest you go out, the game ends. The game ends, right? So there's no more going past this certain point because everything's all the objects are now ending. When something is dying, it's breaking apart. It's like in a video game. It's breaking apart. All its particles are leaving. It's dissipating. It's going away. Like in a video game.
Free Guy.
Sorry. Free Guy. Yeah. Free Guy. Yeah.
Free Jack is the lead singer from Rolling Stones.
So basically, you have a rock that's old. It's so old from the originals, and it's dying, and it's all the radicals are flying away from it.
He was frozen.
It's dying.
It was you who was frozen.
Okay, so it's me. Yeah, I have to redo my thing. Okay, it was me. Yeah. So radiation is basically something dying. It's a rock that's dying. It's an object that's dying. It's dying. Its particles are going away, and those particles go right through you. Because they don't have any weight, so they can just go. That's why I use radiation for a lot of things. Those particles can go right through you and bounce all through your body. It's what gives you radiation and kills you and liquefies all your organs and everything. Radiation, just gives you cancer and all kinds of weird shit. So radioactive material is not good, and the moon is 100% radioactive. So I kind of. How are you walking around with something that's that old and dying? Like it's radioactive material. So they say there was a planetesimal, a Mars-sized planet hit the outer crust of the Earth, which the heavier elements are down low, the higher elements are up high. The silica is much higher. Silica is the lighter, denser. It's crystal. It's crystalline. It's all that stuff. It's crystal. And so the the moon is mostly made of silica. According to them, so it's mostly made of silica.
What if the moon is a Death Star covered with rock?
Like a Death Star, yeah. So the moon's crust is mostly made of silica. Crystals, if anybody knows, I think Daniela's in there. She knows about how crystals hold energy. Silica holds energy. So if you have a big ass crystal moon, it's stored with lots and lots of energy and radiation because it's silica. You don't understand. It took the mantle from the Earth, that's what they say, and it formed. It basically would be like a silica, mostly high silica with some iron or whatever mixed into it, but it'd be highly radioactive, like super radioactive. So, it'd be a great source now because it's high silica and because it's radioactive and because it has a lot of energy stored like you do store in silica. I could see it as a catalyst as part of whatever this earth needs to exist, as in you just got a basically floating crystal up there. So it's helping the earth with its ionospheres. It's a floating crystal. If you guys know about crystal magic, whatever. If it's highly silica, then it would have the properties to do lots of beneficial things, which would make sense mechanically and quantum physically and all that other fun stuff, because it's crystal, high silica. But it would be very, very radioactive.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, I've not seen it possible for a lot of things they're saying.
I want to ask you a fun question. We are getting closer to the end now. Anybody in the chat, you've seen the movie Moonfall? One of the fun things they had to do in the movie Moonfall was that they needed a space shuttle to get into space. Space shuttle they had got busted. So there's an idea that some of these museums actually have space shuttles, and they went to get one, get it ready to go to space. Now, Boeing Museum of Flight that you work in up here has a space shuttle. Now, technically, in theory, is it possible to take a space shuttle from a museum and build it? Not you can rebuild anything, but in a day or two. In a day or two, can they really? No. Why is that?
No, only because, and this is a true story. That's a damn good question.
It's a fun part in the movie. It's a fun part in the movie.
Yeah. Because this Museum of Flight was epic in this. That was a massive thing. All of Smithsonian. There was a museum down in fact, the one down in Los Angeles got it. There were multiple different space shuttles being retired, and all the museums were fighting for it. Okay. And when I say fighting for it, the museums were paying those people that make the decision on who gets the space shuttle. Let's just say they had a lot of nights stay in Vegas. Well, there was a whole lot of motherfucking
shuttle.
Oh, believe me. So the end result was the museum decided to give the space shuttle to Los Angeles. So the Museum of Flight did not get it. However, we got the best deal because we got the trainer. The trainer has all the best guts and everything in it. The other space shuttles, they gut them out. They're gutted. You got an empty car. So it's like everybody's fighting for the Batmobile. Everyone's fighting for you have 10 museums fighting for the Batmobile. And the decision was to give the skin of the Batmobile to this museum. This is just the skin. We're going to give the engine to the Batmobile to this museum. We're going to give the remaining parts and pieces to the other museums for display. So the space shuttles were gutted. They were gutted.
You mean a few new batteries and jumper cables won't work?
No. Now, having said that, if you had a team of mechanical, I would imagine for you to put a space shuttle together again fast, you would go in front of Home Depot and get all the Mexicans you can find and say, I want every Mexican mechanic here, and I need about 50,000 of you, because we need to go to all these other museums, grab all the pieces that are all over, and in fact, the world, some of the other parts of the world have parts and pieces of the space shuttle. We need all of them pieces put together and get it all together, and we need it done in a day. The flight time alone to go get the gaskets here, the gauge here, all the parts and pieces were scattered all over the place. It's because of the big battle. LA won the skin.
But if you get Iron Dogger, she would have it put together.
You would have to put it together, and it's no different than a submarine. Now, a submarine has to go into the depths and the depths and the depths of the deepest ocean when you have massive amounts of heavy pressure. Now, imagine putting Humpty Dumpty together again, the space shuttle. You have to have it go into the zero vacuum of space. It's no different than putting together a submarine in under a certain amount of time and hope it doesn't have a leak. It's possible. It's impossible. highly out of the probabilities of 1 out of a billion, maybe out of a billion, if you had just enough hard-hitting fucking mechanics to get together and pull it all off on the same hour, I guess it could get done.
But, you know,
You better arrange transportations, meals, food.
It was cute for the movie
Liquids.
because it showed it was spray paint on it, so it was cute in the movie. And then, of course,
Yeah.
I think one of the engines were still messed up, so they waited for the moon to get a certain distance, so the gravity would be when it goes up, the gravity would pull the rest, and it would get up there faster.
Yeah.
You know.
It's no different. Yeah, no, it's no different than somebody going into the museum, seeing the Batmobile, and not knowing that it's just the skin, because that's all they got is just the outside skin, and then everything else is like a wooden prop. They just kind of fix it on the inside to make it look complete, but there's no engine, no nothing. Jumping in it and turning it on, there's nothing happening. Well, all the parts and pieces are not in it. They're all over the fucking other museums. There's nothing in this but a skin. It's just the skin. It's all, you know, so there's no complete shuttle. Now, am I saying that the United States of America doesn't have one locked away in some silo complete? That's plausible. Am I saying that maybe Japan has their own space shuttle locked away in some German bunker somewhere has their own complete space shuttle?
They might have one, right?
India could have it locked in some kind of basement down below, complete, already ready to go.
Might have one.
Plausible. Well, it reminds me of Contact. Remember Contact? How that was Jodie Foster was in there, and the whole the other guy was going to go, and some dude blew it up, and so the mission was scrubbed. Then all of a sudden they get a call from Japan and says, "We've got one." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
we've got one already made.
Remember, even Star Wars, when that Death Star blew up, they're already working on the second Death Star.
Yeah, they're already working on the second one. Now,
and
that's
remember
plausible.
Armageddon, that guy says, you know, we just don't build one, we build two. You know, we always got two.
Build two, exactly. Now,
you know?
that is plausible.
Now,
why buy one when you get two?
If you haven't seen Moonfall, now critics hated it, a lot of people hated it, but I'm telling you guys, if it's a fun, stupid movie. It's just fun. I
loved it.
You know, it's one of those things that, listen, Fast and the Furious can't really happen what they did in that movie. We all love Mission Impossible, but there's no way Tom Cruise could do all that stuff in that movie. So everything is all fake science anyway. So if you take away the science,
favorite.
And earlier we were talking about, Juan Truth. I was on Pine Island show today, and we were talking about how, you know, get MacGyver. MacGyver could build everything, you know, and technically there's no science to it.
With a Swiss Army knife. Yeah, you can just do it with a Swiss Army. In fact, I carry a Swiss Army knife. That's my one. My dad bought me a gift, and I've still got to this day. It's a Swiss Army knife. I carry it religiously.
It's a fun movie. Yep. Juan Truth.
Yeah.
It's a fun movie. It's just a stupid, dumb movie.
I enjoyed when you talk about Fast and the Furious, Eric, when those two guys are up inside that, they're in a car, like they're in space, and they got to take out a satellite, and they've got all this equipment on and all this. I go, this is so good. I love that part too.
You know,
highly recommend that.
I tell everybody, I have to be honest. The last Fast and the Furious movie I saw was Tokyo Drift, where they're in Tokyo. Oh, that was the last one that I saw.
You got to see the one.
I just,
you got to see the one they went to space. You got to see the one where they went to space to take out a satellite and they're in a car. It makes so much sense.
Sometimes it's fun. Yeah. Just when you got a movie that you don't have to really concentrate, you can just sit back and like next weekend, Dune 2 comes out, right? That movie is like more of a thinking kind of a movie. You got to like really pay attention. But sometimes you want a movie that you don't have to pay attention to. You could just let it go. Let it run.
Yeah, I was watching Beverly Hills Cop, the first one today, and I loved it. I loved it the same way I loved it when I saw it in the 80s.
You have
I love it.
You have Netflix? Where you're at? Because I just decided to watch it. It's like number 2 and number 3 on the top 10 movies. There's a horror movie called Thanksgiving.
Oh no, I haven't seen it.
And it's directed by Eli Roth. So basically, think of an old-fashioned 80s, 90s slasher movie, but with Eli Roth as the director. It's an old-fashioned slasher movie, but when they slash, you see guts, you see a lot of blood. It's like Eli Roth, like the grossness with it. And it also has that Patrick Dempsey, Mr. Dreamy from Grey's Anatomy.
It's
And it's actually not a bad movie. It's like there's a lot of good kills in it.
It's the 80s style cheese, and nobody's taking it seriously. Again, Fast and Furious has that same taste to it. Moonfall, Eric, has the same taste as the 80s. I mean, those kind of movies are making their way back in, and I'm so happy that they're coming back. I'm so happy. Bring back the cheese. I don't want to. I'm so sick of people being so serious. This can't happen. Of course it can't happen, man. They're just trying to make it look like it's plausible. No, bring back the old shit. Like, bring back the duct tape on the walls of the spaceship. I want to see the pilot of the rocket or the spaceship with a cigarette. Hold on, NASA.
Hey, sometimes
with a NASA ashtray.
Sometimes it's nice to hear, like, kind of like when they go back to the older stuff. And I was mentioning it today on the Pine Island show, like for music wise, man, Green Day's new album was like old school Green Day's finally back. And another album releases Ace Frehley, and the music is like the old school kind of the 80s with the has that hook. And sometimes you need a simple movie, simple music with the hook. You get tired of things too concentrated, like just too melodic. And you need,
for example, like
simple stuff, like Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck. Like right now, I'm waiting on marijuana to be delivered, and it's Maui Wowie. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Somebody has the actual strain of Maui Wowie. I smoked that in the 80s. I loved it. It's an old strain of marijuana, and I can't wait to smoke Maui Wowie today. I'm doing a show tonight, so I'm gonna get high, but my Maui Wowie's not here yet. But shit, the old stuff, man, bring it back.
I miss some of those
Spaceballs,
like Blazing Saddles. Those simple like the Blazing Saddles. Police Academy, not
where
Police
the white
Academy,
women at?
Police Squad, Airplane,
Police Squad,
Airplane.
All the Cheech and Chong's
movie,
Kentucky Fried Movie,
Killer,
all the old
Killer
schools,
Tomatoes,
Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Killer NATO.
Killer Tomatoes. The
Killer Tomatoes. Attack of the
Killer Tomatoes. Sometimes simple is better than getting too complex. So
right now they're so
easy, complex, but they just fucked up the science.
Yeah. Fuck the science for entertainment world.
One of the first AI type robots where lightning struck it, and it was like one of the first original AI type of movie.
Yeah, all the best old ones, man. That's why Eric and I was joking about, like, Eric was like, what do you want to do with the show on? I said, let's do it on the movies again. I'm sick of this other stuff. I got my own show for all the venting and all that other stuff. Eric's got all week long to do all his other stuff. Let's on our shows. Let's do the old retro shit, man. Let's
and
go
Ron
back to
was
old.
talking about the lunar, but the moon landing again. I'm like, let's talk about the signs of moonfall.
Yeah. Wait, did somebody actually land on the moon this week again?
The moon, the very first video I showed where they said that machine, not a person, not a human, the lunar.
Who did? What country? What now? What country now? I thought Africa was next. What country? Paraguay? I mean, who sent who is it? Is it India again? Because that's fucking Joe.
No,
I'm like, okay.
A private
what
company.
Country? Where's Ron?
A private company. Hold on.
Private company.
Where is it?
What? They didn't send a damn thing to the moon. They didn't send nothing.
No,
they didn't send anything.
The very first, this one right here. The
first video I played. What country?
The first from America. A lunar lander.
Who did?
21st.
America didn't do it.
Yeah, that's
America did it?
Yeah.
No. No, they didn't.
Odyssey passes over the near side of the moon, lunar. February. Image.
No, they didn't.
A company, billions of dollars, NASA contract.
Really? Oh my God.
That was 2 days ago.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. Fucking
That's
liars.
what they say. I mean,
Those fucking liars. Those fucking liars. I would know. I mean, believe me, this is getting out of hand now. This is dumb. I mean, this is so dumb. Like, so dumb. I can't fucking, I'm watching it. No, that can't happen that way. It wouldn't work.
yeah.
Oh my God, I thought that was a joke.
No, our good friend, Cosmic Neighbors Ron, did some videos on it.
I gotta get a hold of fucking Ron and get caught. I gotta watch his videos and get caught the fuck up with the goddamn.
Yeah, he did a.
Ron has all the most informative videos when it comes down to anything NASA or anything astrology or anything up in the sky. Ron is 100% the go-to guy.
Yeah, Ron.
Also, if you have any computer problems,
he did a whole hour show on the lunar landing yesterday.
God damn it, man.
Yeah, he did the whole.
Oh, look at this.
Look, see, that's when I popped in. He had my name there. Yeah.
Oh,
and Ron's a good. Ron knows how to explain this very well.
Well, Ron tells the science, the way the science is being read to him and the way the science is being read to the science community. And everything they have is 100% the plausibility for what they've done and all the stuff to back it up, all the information to back it up. And so you listen to that. And then so I watch it. I look at the science because he's only repeating what is told to the public. So he takes the information and collects it together and says, this is what's being told to the public. Here's the plausibility aspects. Here's the math. And this is how we did it. And you look at it and say, okay, I see it now. Okay, so let me see if I can find some holes in it. Let me look at the footage. Let me look at this. And I have to be skeptical. I have to be skeptical all the way back. Now, he presents it 100% how they present it. It's 100% on the plate. Ron doesn't take anything off the fucking plate. Oh. This is how the science is. And I go, okay, let me take what Ron has and what they gave and what he put together himself, hard work. And let me see if I can dismantle it. Let's see if I can dismantle what they're saying.
Well, what's cool is he's passionate about it. So, he wants to get it right too. You want to get it all correct. So
yeah. If he ever becomes a flat earther, I'm going to cry because I need his data. I need him to be 100% resistance against the dark forces.
Well, but thing is, if he becomes one, that means he must found something out.
Yeah, and then he's no good to me anymore because I need somebody that has and quotes the science. Let me dismantle. You guys don't worry about that.
So, what time are you going on tonight?
Oh, my normal time is 4:20, but it's what time is it now? It's like it's 3:15. I still got to get myself set up a little bit. I'm shooting for 4:20. I haven't even put the post up yet. Around 4:20ish, 4:30, between 4 and 5 maybe. Yeah.
Well, then let's end the show so you get your stuff ready. And then, guys, I'll see you guys all next week on Monday. And beyond that, everybody have a fantastic weekend. And I'll see you all next time on the Paranormal Highway.
In our obsession with antagonisms of the moment, we often forget how much unites all the members of humanity. Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us? What could be more alien to the universal aspirations of our peoples than war and the threat of war?